Hi everyone, and welcome to what is part 6. Let me do that. Part 6 here of working through every question in the book. Sorry. Oh, there we go. That is all working. There we go. Sorry, just doing my sound test. So that's all good. Yep, so part 6 of this season, and we're at currently topic 31. So today I'm just going to start getting on with topic 31 and continue to work through. Remember, if you want any more help with any of these topics that you're seeing that I'm just answering, and I'm just kind of going a bit too quickly through these for you because the purpose of this video is just to answer these questions and check that the book is completely accurate. So if you want any more work on these questions, there's loads of opportunity to practice these topics at crackmaths.co.uk. So here you go, here's the Crack Maths website here, and if you simply click on resources and go to tutorials, functional skills and GCSE, what you'll find is if you scroll down here, we've got all of the numbered topics here which correspond to the topics in the book. So today we're starting off with topic 31, how to use brackets and indices and calculations. So if you wanted to do some more work on this, you can click on that. And what you will find is, here we go. What you'll find is here is the video that will show you how to do that. And here are the practice questions, actually, the ones that we're kind of reviewing today, but we're just reviewing them in the book format because when this is printed, I want to make sure that there's absolutely no mistakes. So yes, that will be that. Right, so let's get started then. Okay, so here we go. This is topic 31, as I said. And question 1 is evaluate 7, add 3 in brackets, all to the power of 2. Okay, so what that's going to be is 7 add 3. We do the brackets first. Will be 10. So we're looking at 10 squared. And then 10 squared means 10 times 10. So that will be 100. Okay, the next one we've got here. Simplify 4 squared plus 5 cubed. Okay, so you do the indices first. So here we go. 4 squared is 4 times 4. So that will be 16. 5 cubed is 5 times 5 times 5. Okay, so I'm going to whip out the calculator for this. Here we go. So 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Okay. So that there is 125. So now 4 squared is 16, 5 cubed is that, so we've got to add these two together. So we're doing 16, add 125. As I've got the calculator out, I will do them on the calculator. So we've got 16, add 125. And there we go, so the answer to this one will be 141. Okay, right. Question 3. 2 times 3 plus 5 minus 4. Okay, so let's do the bracket first. So 2 times 8 minus 4. Now, we can't forget what we did in the previous question, which is the order of operations. So multiplication comes before subtraction. So now what we have to do is we've got 2 times 8, which is 16. Take away 4. And now this will give us an answer of 12. Right, question 4. Evaluate 9 minus 2 all to the power of 3. So 9 minus 2 is 7. So this is 7 to the power of 3. To the power of 3 means 7 times 7 times 7. Okay, let's do this here. 7 times 7 times 7. And that equals 343. Okay, question 5. Simplify 2 times 4 squared minus 3, where this bit's all in brackets. So we need to do the bracket first, but once we go inside the bracket, we've then got an indices. So we have to do this indice first before we can take 3 away from it. So remember, 4 squared is 4 times 4, okay, which equals 16. So here we get 16 take away 3, which equals 13. And now we have 2 times 13, because this bracket here has a value of 13. So 2 times 13 is 26. Okay, right. Let's get this marked. So here we go. I'm on the right section for the answers. 31, use brackets and indices in calculations, practice. Okay, so here we go. Let me just make it so we can see both. So here we go. First one is 100, 141, 12, 343, and 26. Excellent. So they are all correct. Right, next round. Here we go. Right, solve 6 plus 2 squared minus 5 times 4 minus 1. Okay, so brackets first. So this becomes 8 squared minus 5 times 3. 8 squared is 8 times 8, which is 64. 5 times 3 is 15, so we've got 64 minus 15. Okay, 64 minus 15. 4 take away 5 can't do, so borrow 1. That would be 9, 4. So the answer to this one will be 49. Okay, question 7. Evaluate 8 minus 2 times 2 plus 3 all squared. So let's do it bit by bit. So we've got 8 minus 2. I'm leaving this to the end because the takeaway in these situations is actually what we're going to do last. So we've got 8 take away 2 times 5 squared. 5 squared is 25, so we've now got 8 take away 2 times 25. Now we do multiplication before we do subtraction. So we've got 8 times 8 minus 50. Okay, and then 8 minus 50, well, that's going to be negative 42. Okay, and I'll show you that on the calculator. 8 take away 50 is negative 42. Right, question 8. Simplify 1 squared plus 2 cubed plus 3 to the power of 4. So 1 squared is 1. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 8. And then 8 times 2 equals... sorry. I skipped to the end. I did it in my head without... my brain and my mouth were not working together. Right, so 2 times 2 is 4. And then times 2 again is equal to 8. Right, so here we go. So we've got 1. And then that bit's 8. Now 3 to the power of 4 is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So I'm going to think about this as these pairs of 3s being 9 times 9. Okay, because 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. So there we go. So this will equal this. So we're going to have 1 add 8 add 81. Well, 81 add 1 is 82. And then add the 8 will take us up to 90. So that will equal 90. And then let me underline that because that is our answer. Right, so question 9. Solve 2 times 5 squared minus 3 in brackets plus 4 minus 1 squared in brackets. Okay, so let's do what we can first. So first round is to solve the brackets as much as we can. 5 squared is 25, take away 3, plus 4 minus 1 is 3, and then we're going to square that. 2 times 25 minus 3 is 22, so we can leave that there as 22 because that's got rid of that bracket. And then plus 9, and then we've got to do the multiplication next. 2 times 22 is 44, so we've got 44 plus 9, and then that will equal 53. Okay, wonderful. Right, question 10. Evaluate 6 minus 1 cubed minus 2 times 4 plus 3. Okay, so brackets first. So we've got 5 cubed minus 2 times 7. Right, so 5 cubed is 5 times 5 times 5. Well, 5 times 5 is 25, so this is 25 times 5. Okay, And then let's see what 25 times 5 is. I'm just doing this in case this was a non-calculator question. Okay, right, so 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10. Add down the lines, that's 5, 2, 1. So 5 cubed is 125. And then 2 times 7 is 14. So we're looking here at 125, take away 14, and that will be 111. So let's underline that to make that clear that that's our answer. And then we can go over to here. So, right. Let's get these marked. So we've got 49. Excellent. Negative 42. We've got 90. We've got 53. We've got 111. Excellent. So that is all good. Okay. All good for the book. Okay, right. Now let's have a look at these scenario questions. Okay, so scenario questions are here. And this first one reads, these are a bit funny because I found it difficult to find scenarios where you'd square stuff sometimes. So anyway, let's just read it and have a go. And the first one here, it says, the heights of two basketball players are 6 feet and 7 feet. What number do you get if you square the sum of their heights? Okay, so squaring the sum of their heights means that we have to add their heights together first and then square it. So we're going to, it's actually like having this 6 plus 7 squared. Okay, so 6 plus 7 is 13. And then we've got 13 squared, so that's 13 times 13. Let's do this with the grid method. 1, 3, 1, 3. And then, so 3 times 1, 3. 3 times 3, 9, 1. And then, so here we go, that's 9, that's 6, and that's 1. So there we go, so the answer is 169. Okay, right. Remember, if it's a calculator question, and most of them are, you can just use your calculator, okay? So let's have a look at question 2. A store sells t-shirts for £10 each and hats for £5 each. If you buy 3 t-shirts and 2 hats, what value do you get if you square the total cost of all items? Okay, right, so a store sells hats for £10 each. A store sells t-shirts for £10 each and hats for £5 each. If you buy 3 t-shirts, so that's 3 times 10, and 2 hats, so that's 2 times 5, what value do you get if you square the total cost of all the items? So that is that. Oh my gosh. So that is that squared. So this is definitely going to be a calculator question. So let's do what we can first. So we can do here, 3 times 10 is 30, 2 times 5 is 10, so that becomes 30 plus 10, and we're going to square that. And then, so that's going to be 40 squared, okay, which I can do on my calculator, 40 times 40, and that will be 1,600. Okay, right. Next one we've got here. A farmer has 2 fields, one with 4 cows and the other with 3 cows. The dairy milk production per cow is 5 litres. However, after milk collection is complete, 5 litres of milk gets spilt. How many litres of milk are left to sell? Okay, right. So the farmer has 2 fields, one with 4 cows, one with 3 cows. The daily milk production is per cow is 5 litres, and then at the end 5 is spilt. Okay, so I think what we've got to do first is we've got to add, this is like here, we've got to add the number of cows together, and then we've got to times that by 5, and then we've got to take away 5. So this is essentially what's happening. Find out how many cows there are, times by the amount of milk, take off the 5 litres that gets spilt. So 4 plus 3 is 7, So we've got 7 times 5, take away 5. 7 times 5 is 35, take away 5. So the answer to this one should be 30. Right, okay, question 4. The recommended number of potatoes when cooking a roast is 2 per person plus the square root of the total guests. How many potatoes do you need for 4 people? Okay, so 2 per person, okay, there's 4 people, okay, plus the square root of the total guests. So 2 per person is going to be 2 times 4, and then plus the square root of the number of guests, which is 4. Okay, so here we go. 2 times 4 is 8. The square root of 4 is 2. Okay, so this will be 10 roast potatoes. Right, question 5. A car rental company charges £20 per day for an estate and £30 per day for an SUV. What would be the difference in the cost if you hired a car for a week? Okay, so we can do 30 take away 10 to find out the difference per day, and then we can times that by 7. Okay, so 30 take away 10 is 20, and then if you times that by 7, 20 times 7, well, 2 times 7 is 14, so 20 times 7 will be 140. Okay, right, let's mark these questions. Here we go. I should probably put pounds there just because it is a pounds answer. Right, so let's go to the top. And here we go, question 1, 169. Question 2, oh, that was pounds as well, let me put that in there. Question 3 was 30 litres. It is important to remember your units, okay? I've been quite sloppy here. Question 4 is 10, excellent. Oh no, what? Has anyone noticed what I did? I solved the question in my head and then wrote down the answer in the question part. So what I did was I did 30 take away 10 when I meant to do 30 take away 20, which would equal 10. Okay. And then that would give us 70. Okay. This is one of the annoying things about when they always say check your working. I didn't actually check my answer to that one. So that is an important message that we should go back and check through things. Okay, so here we go. 30 take away 20 times 7. And then, yeah, there we go. We have got the correct answer. Right, let's have a look at the next round. So here we go. Over here, we've got this. Question 1, it says, a construction company orders 8 tonnes of cement for a building project. If the project uses 1.5 tonnes per day, how much cement is left after 4 days? Okay, so we need to work out how much cement they use. So that is 1.5 times 4. 1.5 times 4 is 6. So they use 6 tonnes over the 4 days, and then we'll need to do 8 take away 6, which will be 2 tonnes. Is it tonnes or tonners? I don't know. 2 tonnes left. Okay, right. So, yeah. And if we were going to write that in one calculation, it would have been this. So it would have been 1.5 times 4, 8 take away. Like that. Right. Question 7. It says here, a restaurant applies a promotional discount of 10% by multiplying the original bill by 0.9. If the original bill is £100, how much will you pay if 12.5% of service charges is added after the discount? Okay. Okay, so let's complete this question here. So what we have is £100 times the 0.9. That's going to give us the discount. So I'll put that in brackets there, although that might not be important. So this is how much the bill will be after the discount. Okay. And then how much will you pay if the original bill was £100? How much will you pay if 12.5% service charge is added after the discount? So this is asking you to remember that to add on 12.5%, you multiply by 1.125. So here we go. This is the calculation. This is the calculation that we will be doing. So let's work this one out. So we've got 100 times 0.9 to start off with. Okay, so that gives us 90. So we end up with 90 times 1.125. Okay, and then let's see what this equals. So 90 times 1.125, and that is going to be £101.25. There you go. I'll write that here. £101.25. Right. Question 8. A student has to solve 2 squared plus 1. A student has to solve 2 squared plus 1 cubed plus 4 to the power of 4 maths problems. Wow, that's a lot of maths problems. If the student then divides his answer by 2, what does he get? Okay, this actually doesn't make sense. Right, so let me just quickly change that. So I think what we just need to do is we need to just get rid of this bit which says maths problems. So the question should just be, a student has to solve this. If the student then divides his answer by 2, what does he get? Okay, so let me just quickly edit that. So this is the behind the scenes element here. So this is page 31. Okay, so here we go. Right, so we need to get rid of this bit here because that stops that from making sense. Right, there we go. All worthwhile when these things come up. Right, so I'll just put a note to say that's been formatted. Right. Okay, so let's solve this. So I'm going to use my calculator for this. So 2 squared, well, we know 2 squared is 4. 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1, which will be 1. And 4 to the power of 4 is going to be 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, so that will be 256. Okay, so this will be 261, I believe. Let's try adding that together. 256 plus 4 plus 1. There we go. 261 is the answer to the first bit. If the student then divides his answer by 2, what does he get? So we're looking at 261 divided by 2. Let's divide this by 2 up here. And this will be 130.5. Okay. Question 9. A company is selling products at a discount of buy 2, get a third half price. Okay. If the customer buys 9 products priced at £80, how much do they spend? Okay, so we need to work out how many products they're buying at each price. So buy 2, get a third half price. So they're paying whole price plus half price plus whole price plus half price. That's 6 plus whole price plus half price. Okay, so we're paying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole prices and 3 half prices. Okay, so 6 times 80 will give us the 6 whole prices, and 3 times, well, 80 divided by 2 equals 40. So 3 times 40 will give us the half prices. So 6 times 80 is 480. 3 times 40 is 120. If we add those together, 0, 0, 1, 6. So the final answer would be £600 is how much they would be spending for all of those 9 products. Okay, question 10. If the area of a square is given by side length squared, what is the area of the grass? What is the area of the grass square garden? I don't think that word's... Right, yeah, that doesn't make sense either. So, here we go. What is the area of a square garden with side length 8 meters? Okay, I'm just going to put 8m there. If the square pond in the middle has side lengths 2 meters. Okay, and then we don't need a dot there. Okay, right. And then let's move that up. Okay, if the area of a square is given by side length squared, what is the area of a square garden with side length 8 meters if there is a... Oh, I see what the thing about the grass was. What is the area of a square garden? What is the area of land? Okay, and then let's change that back to meters. Okay, if the area of a square is given by side length squared, what is the area of land? What is the area of the land for a square garden with side length 8 meters if there is a square pond in the middle with side length 2 meters? Okay, I think that makes sense. If the area of a square is given by side length squared, what is the area of land? What is the area of the land for a square garden? What is the area of land for a square garden with side length 8 meters if there is a square pond in the middle with side length 2 meters? Yes, I'm happy with that. Let's read that once more. If the area of a square is given by side length squared, what is the area of land for a square garden with side length 8 meters? With side length 8 meters if there is a square pond in the middle. If there is a square pond in the middle with side length 2 meters. If there is a square pond in the middle. Is that too many commas? I feel like it makes sense though. What is the area of land for a square garden with side length 8 meters if there is a square pond in the middle with side length 2 meters? Maybe I don't need to put side length with sides 8 meters. No, I think let's keep it because this says side length squared with side length 8 meters. Okay, fine. Right. Let's go back to the question. Okay, so we've changed that. What is the area of land in a square garden with side length 8 meters? If there is a square pond with side length 2 meters. Okay. Let me just check once more. Sorry about that. What is the area of land in a square? In a square garden. Right, okay, right. Okay, so let's answer this question now. So the area of the square is going to be, the area of the garden altogether is going to be 8 times 8. So that will be 8 times 8, which will equal 64 meters squared. And then the area of the pond will be 2 times 2, which will be 4 meters squared. So the area of the land is going to be the area of the whole garden, take away the area of the pond. So we're going to do 64, take away 4, which will equal 60 meters squared. Okay, right. Let's get these questions marked. So here we go. I'm going to scroll up here. Right. Right, so we've got question 6 is 2 tons. Question 7 is 101.25 pounds. 130.5, excellent. 660 meters squared. Perfect. Right, so the answer's all agreed, even if there's a few question errors there. Okay, right, let's now move on to the next topic. Okay, so let me just put a note here to say that this was formatted as well. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Okay, so here we go. Question 32, calculate compound interest. Okay, so this is going to be a calculator topic, this one. So let's get out the calculator. Okay, so what we've got here is compound interest is applied at 6% to a sum of £1,000. How much is it worth after 5 years? Okay, so what that's going to do is we're going to have to do £1,000 times 1.065 times. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, so let's get this done. So we've got 1,000 times 1.06. Okay, because this increases it by 6%. That's time increasing it by 6% once, increasing it by twice, increasing by 6% 3 times, increasing by 6% 4 times, increasing by 6% 5 times. So here we go, and round answers up to 2 decimal places. That's because this is money. Okay, so money is pounds and pence. So here we go. This is going to be, the answer is £1,338.23. Okay, question 2. Compound interest is applied to a sum of £1,200. How much is it worth after 4 years? So again, we've got our starting amount and then multiplied by 1.035 times 1.035, 4 years this time. 5 times 1.035. Okay, so this is going to equal 1212 times 1.035. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So here we go. That will be £1,377 and 3 pence to the nearest penny. Right, compound interest is applied to a sum of £2,500. How much is it worth after 2 years? So this is going to be, it's 8% this time. So we're going to have our 2,500 and we're going to multiply it by, remember this number just comes by doing the 100%, which is the whole amount, add the 8%, which gives us 108%, and then the decimal equivalent of that is this divided by 100, so that's 1.08. So we're just going to have to times this by 1.08 twice. Okay, there we go. So let's get the calculator, and we will have 2,500 times by 1.08 times 1.08. Okay, and there we go. No decimal places this time. £2,916. Okay, question 4. compound interest is applied at 2.5% to a sum of £800. How much is it worth after 6 years? Okay, so 800 this time is our starting number, times 1.025, times 1.025, times 1.025, times 1.025, 1, 2, 3, 4, times 1.025, times 1.025. Okay, I'm actually going to do something different here with the calculator. I'm going to go into the scientific mode. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 800 times 1.025, and I'm going to go here and go here to the power of 6. There we go. Because that's what this is. Remember when we've got those indices, it's basically telling us how many times we multiply a number by itself. So here we go. So we've got 800 times 1.25 to the power of 6. Okay, and this will give me £927.75 to 2 decimal places. Okay, and then let's move the calculator away again, and we can do this final question. So this one says here, calculate the interest applied to a sum of £3,000. Compound interest is applied at 5.5% to a sum of £3,000. How much is it worth after 7 years? Okay, so after 7 years, what we're looking at is we've got 3,000 times 1.055 to the power of 7, okay? Because again, we're doing that 7 times, and then I can do this on the calculator. Here we go. So 3,000. Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. That's really nice. Cheers. Times 1.055. I hope you're finding it useful. To the power of 7. Okay, and that is going to be equal to £4,364 and 4 pence. Okay. Right, so let's get this first round marked. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to minimise this to get to the answers. Here we go. This was topic 32, compound interest. Cheers. Right, so here we go. Question 32. We've got the first one is 1,338.23. Yeah, great. Then we've got here 1,377. And then we've got, oh, nice. Oh, perfect. Well, I'm really happy that you found me. I'm great, and good work. That sounds like a brilliant thing you're doing. So well done. Right. 2,916. And then, I think there you go. 2,916. And then that was right. This next one, 927.04. And then we've got 4,364.04. Okay, great. Okay, those were all correct. Wonderful. So the book is looking good, and we're getting up to halfway now, which is very nice. So let's try these next questions here. And this one is question 6. Compound interest is applied to here. Okay, so let's do this. We've got 2,500 times 1.042, and then this is 3 years. So let's just do this like this one this time. Okay, so here we go. Get the calculator back out. I'll go back to basic. The reason why I'm using the basic calculator is I know that when a lot of people do this qualification online, you're often limited to a basic calculator. So I try not to use the hotkeys too much because you might not have them. So that's the main reason I'm not always using the indice button. Oh, 1.042. Okay, so here we go. So this will be £2,828.42. Okay, question 7. Right, we've got here, compound interest is applied to at 7% to a sum of 1,500. How much is it worth after 8 years? So we're going to have 1,500 times 1.07 to the power of 8. I am going to use the hotkey for this though, because that would be a lot of 1.07s to write down. So 1500 times 1.07 to the power of 8. Here we go. And so this will equal £2,577 and 28 pence. Okay, right, question 8. I'll just leave this here now. Let's clear that. Compound interest is applied at 6.5% to a sum of £1,800. How much is it worth after 5 years? Okay, so let's answer this one. We've got 1,800 times 1.065 to the power of 5. Okay, so let's do that here. 1,800 times 1.05 to the power of 5. Oh, no, I'm getting that wrong. 1.065 to the power of 5. Okay, so here we go. This one will be 2,466.16. Okay, and then we've got question 9 here. And it says, compound interest is applied at 9% to a sum of £2,000. How much is it worth after 4 years? So we're looking at 2,000 times 2,000 times 1.09 to the power of 4. Okay, so here we go. We've got 2,000 times 1.09 to the power of 4. Okay, right. Next one here. We've got compound interest is applied at 3.8% to a sum of £1,000. How much is it worth after 6 years? So we've got 1,000 times 1.038 to the power of 6. And let's work out what this is. 1,000 times 1.038 power of 6, and this is going to be 1,250.79. I should have actually put the pound sign in each of these because they are pounds, so it's important that we've done that. I did it for the first few and then I dropped it off. Right, let's get these ones marked. Here we go, and then we can continue to move on. So here we go. I have got a completely different answer. Oh no, they're the scenario ones. Oh right, that's all right then. Okay, here we go. 2,828.42. Yeah, that's correct. £2,577.28. Yeah, that is correct. £2,466.16. Yeah, that's correct. £2,823.16. Yeah, that's correct. And then 1,000. Ooh, we've got 1,259 here. I've written down 1,250. Let's see. The calculator is 1,000 times 1.038 to the power of 6. Yeah. Okay, that's a typo here. Where is it? Yeah, that's good. Good that we've caught that. 32, question 10, and that's on page 358. So let's go fix that. We're looking for page 358. 358, and it was this one, and that 9 needed to be a 0. 125079. Got it. Okay. Okay. And then let's go back here. Okay, here we go. And then we can tick that off. And that is correct. Okay, right. Scenario questions. Let's get started. Okay, so here we go. We've got if £1,000 is invested at a compound interest rate of 5% per year, what will be the total amount after 3 years? Okay, this is very similar to the practice questions, really. Again, it says here at the top, round answers to 2 decimal places, because all these questions are going to be about money, pounds and pence. So let's keep going. So what we've got here is 1,000 times 1.03. Nope, I'm getting my numbers mixed up. 5% for 3 years. 1.05 to the power of 3. Okay, 1.05 to the power of 3. Here we go. Let me just move that up here. So 1,000 times 1.05. Okay, here we go. So this is going to be 1157.63. Okay. Calculate the compound interest on a principal amount of £10,000 with an interest rate of 8% per annum for the period of 5 years. So this is interesting. This is a different question, okay? So this one, this first question here says what will be the total amount after 3 years? But this next one here, it just says calculate the compound interest on a principal amount of this bit of £10,000 with an interest rate of 8% per year after 5 years. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to work out the total amount this time, and I'm going to have to take away that £10,000. Okay, so let's say we've got here, so we've got 10,000 times 1.08 to the power of 5. So that's going to give us our amount with the interest, and then we need to take away 10,000. Okay, and that's going to give us our final amount. So we've been using brackets now, so I'm going to use them here. So we've got 10,000 times 1.08 to the power of 5. Okay, so that's going to give us our amount, our total amount with the compound interest. And I'm going to take away the initial investment here. So I'm going to take away the 10,000. Okay, so here we go. So this should be £4,693.28. Okay, I will just make a note over here that this would have been 14,903.28. Take away 10,000. There we go. Just because I'm nervous in the answers if this is going to be right. Okay, but we'll find out. Okay, so here we go. Question 3. A loan of £5,000 is offered at a compound interest rate of 6% per year. How much interest will be earned after 2 years? So again, they're only asking about the interest in this question. So that's a key thing to look for. They're only asking for the interest. So we're going to do 5,000 times 1.06 times, I'm going to just do it like this time because it's just to the power of 2. And then we're going to want to do that, and then we're going to want to take off the initial amount and see what this gives us. Okay, so here we go. We've got the bit that calculates the compound interest. So these brackets here find us the total amount, and then we're taking out the initial investment, and this will give us the answer. Okay, so £618 in interest over the 2 years. Right, question 4. What is the future value of £2,500 invested at a compound interest rate of 4% per year for a period of 7 years? Okay, so this is the future value of it all. Okay, so it's going to be 2500 multiplied by 1.04 to the power of 7. Okay, because it's 7 years. So we'd be doing that 7 times. So 25, that's a 4. 2500 times 1.07, 1.04 to the power of 7. Okay, there we go. And that is going to be £3,289.83. Wonderful. Right. Okay, question 5. Calculate the compound interest on £15,000 with an interest rate of 7% per annum for a period of 4 years. Okay, so again, they're only asking us to calculate the interest here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the initial amount times 1.07 to the power of 4, because it's for 4 years. Okay, and then we're going to take away the initial investment. So what we're left with is just the interest. Okay, so let's work this one out. So we've got 1500 times 1.07 to the power of 4. Okay, and then we're going to take away the 1,500. Okay, here we go. And so this will be our final answer. 4,601.94. Right. Moment of truth. Was all of this technical wording correct? Is it going to match up with the answers? Okay. I'm very nervous. Right. So let's have a look. So first one is, here we go, £1,157.63. Yep, that agrees. Ah, okay, they've put both. Right, so here we go. They've put the amount and they've put what the interest is. Okay, here we go. I think I'm going to give that a tick because I believe it is the interest which this is implying that it wants. Calculate the compound interest on a principal amount of £10,000. Yep. So maybe I should update this in the answer scheme. No, I think that's fine. I think someone will look at the answer to that and they'll be happy that they've got it correct. Okay, here we go. £618, £3,289.83. And here we go. £4,661.94 interest. Okay. Right. Okay, next one. Let's have a look at question 6. So here we go. Right, so it says here, if £50,000 is invested at a compound interest rate of 10% per year, what will be the accumulated value after 8 years? Okay, so that's the whole thing. So we've got 50,000 times 1.1, and that will equal, 1.1 to the power of 8. And let's find out what that's going to be. So 50,000 times 1.1 to the power of 8. Whew. 107,179.44. and then they put a comma there. £107,179.44. Okay. Question 7. How much interest will be earned on a principal amount of £1,500 with a compound interest rate of 3% per annum for a period of 3 years? Okay, so how much interest? So we only want the interest this time. Okay, so we're going to work out the total amount. Well, I don't need a pound sign for this bit. Will be 1,500 times 1.03 for the period of 3 years, and then we need to take out the initial investment. Okay, and this will give us our answer of how much interest is paid. So bracket 1500 times 1.03 all to the power of 3, close bracket, and then take away the initial investment. Here we go. This will be £139.09 interest. Okay, question 8. Calculate the future value of a loan amount of £20,000 with a compound interest rate of 9% per year for a period of 6 years. Okay, so how much is that loan? How much will that be worth in 6 years' time? Okay, so 20,000 times 1.09 to the power of 6. Okay, so if you borrowed this much money, how much would you have to pay back? So here we go. 123 times 1.09 to the power of 6, and you'd have to pay back 33,542. Okay, and then that's 0.00. Okay, question 9. What is the compound interest of £10,000 with an interest rate of 12% per annum for a period of 5 years? So if we've got here, what is the compound interest? So we're wanting to know what the interest is. So we're going to have to do 10,000 times 1.12. It's over 5 years. Okay, so that's going to give us how much we've made, and then we need to take off how much we invested and then see what that gives us. So here we go. So 10,000, 123, times 1.125 to the power of 5. Close the brackets around that, and then take away the initial investment. And then there we go. Ooh, that would be a lot of interest. So that would be £8,020.32. Okay, and here we go. Question 10. We've got, if £5,000 is invested at a compound interest rate of 10% per year, what will be the total amount after 2 years? Okay, so we're total amounting here. So what we're going to have is we're going to have 5,000 multiplied by 1.1, and then that is going to equal, that's going to equal 5,000 times 1.1. There we go, so that'll be 5. Oh, and then I've got to do it again. So it was 2 years. There we go. That'll be 6050. Okay, right, let's get these questions marked. Okay, so here we go. Move this over to the side. Okay. Right, so first one. £107,179.44. Yes, we agree. Question 7. The interest is £139.09. Yep. This bit here is 33,000. Yep. And then we've got here This is different. Okay, right, it's all been worthwhile. 17,000, and then which, because that'll even be different with this. So let's try that calculation again. So the compound interest is definitely this formula. So it's 10,000 times 1.12 to the power of 5. Take away the 10,000 initial investment, and I've got that this gives me 8,020. But here I've got that it is going to give me 7,600. So let's check who is correct. Okay, one last time. So we've got 10,000 times 1.12. Oh, that's a 5. Could be me. 1.12 to the power of 5. Okay, this looks all good. Oh, it was me. I got it wrong this time. Okay, right, let's alter that. What did I do? Right, so this equals 1 second. Can't even write the numbers right. 1,762.3.42. Take away 10,000, which would be £7,623.42. Okay, does that now agree with what they've said? It does. Perfect. Okay, right, so that is correct after all. Well, that's good. I didn't make it wrong. Right, so here we go. Next one we've got, if £5,000 is invested at compound interest, well, we don't need to read that. 6,050, 6,050. Yeah, so they are both correct. Right. Let's keep pressing on. New question, new topic. That's nice. Save money in equal instalments. Okay, so let's see. Right. What is the monthly payment for saving £12,000 over 1 year? So that's 1 year is 12 months. So 12 months equals £12,000. So 1 month is this divided by 12. So that would be £1,000. Okay. Monthly payment for saving 5,000 over 2 years. So 2 years is 24 months. Equals £5,000. 1 month will equal this divided by 24. I'm going to get my calculator out for that, and I can go back to basic. Okay, here we go. So 5,000 divide 24. Okay. Round answers up to 2 decimal place, again because it's pounds and pence. So what we've got here is £208.33. What is the monthly saving plan for saving £800 over 6 months? Okay, so 6 months equals 800. 1 month will equal this divided by 6. Okay, so 800 divided by 6. Okay, that's 133.33. Okay, question 4. What is the monthly payment for saving £10,000 over 3 years? So 3 years is 3 times 24. 3 times, which is 72. So we get 72 months equals 10,000. 1 month will equal this divided by 72. So 10,000 divided by 72 is going to be £138.89. And then lastly, what is the monthly payment for saving £15,000 over 9 months? So 9 months equals £15,000. And then 1 month will equal 15,000 divided by 9. So we'll do that on the calculator. Is it going to be nice? No. So that's £166.67 per month. Okay, so let's get these marked. So if I just do these here. Oh dear. Oh gosh, yeah, that's 100. I should have used my calculator there. I don't know how I did 1,200. 1 second. 1,200 divided by 12. In fact, let's just check that out. 1 second. 1,200. Yeah, divided by 12. Oh, that's where I went wrong. I added an extra 0 in my calculation. So yes, that is 100, but 12,000 divided by 12 was 1,000. Right, there we go. Let's fix that. Okay, right. That is fine. Okay, so the mark scheme was right, which is good. That's what we want. Okay. Here we go. £208.33. Yep, that's right. £133.33. Yep, that's correct as well. £138.89. Oh, that's very different to this. Question 4. Okay, let's try this again. Oh no! I did 3 times 24. I meant to do 3 years. I've got way too much. Oh gosh. I think I found this topic a bit too straightforward and I just kind of glossed over it. So 3 times 12 is 36 months. So if anyone's spotted that, 36 months is equal to £10,000. Okay, then we want 1 month will equal 10,000 divided by 36. Okay, let's just do that to check. 10,000 divided by 36 is, there we go, £277.78. Do I agree now with the mark scheme? I do, yes. Okay, excellent. So that's that done. Okay, and here we have this next one, and that agrees. Okay, right. Pay more attention. This is the thing that I need to be doing for these next round. Okay, so right. What is the monthly payment for saving £3,000 over 2 years? 2 years is 24 months. So 24 months equals 3,000. So we need to do 3,000 divided by 24. And that equals 125. There we go. 12 months equals 2,500. So 1 month equals 2,500 divided by 12. Here we go. At 4 years is 4 times 12 equals 48. So 48 months equals £6,000. So 1 month equals 6,000 divided by 48. Okay, 6 months equals £900. So 1 month equals 900 divided by 6. Okay, what is the monthly payment for saving £4,000 over 3 years? So we've got 4,000. 3 times 12 equals 36. 36 months equals £4,000. So 1 month is this divided by 36. Just put that. Okay, so that would be 4,000. Oh, divided by 36. There we go. 111 pound and 11 pence. Okay, right. Let's get this marked. So here we go. We have got 125. Yeah. 208.33. 125. 150. And 111.11. Okay, right. On to the scenario ones. So here we go. We've got here that Tarek wants to save £10,000 in 2 years. How much should he save each month if he wants to contribute the same amount each month? Okay, so 2 years is 24 months. So 24 months equals £10,000. Okay, 1 month equals this divided by 24. So let me get that out of the calculator. So 10,000 divided by the 24 months is £416.67 a month if we round that. Maria wants to save £5,000 in 12 months. How much should she save each week? Ah, we've got a different unit of time. Right, 12 months is a year. A year is 52 weeks. Okay, so 52 weeks equals 5,000. Okay, so 1 week will equal this divided by 52. Okay, so here we go. 5,000 divided by 52. So that's £96.15 per week. David wants to save £20,000 in 5 years. How much should he save each quarter if he wants to contribute the same amount each quarter? Right, each quarter means 4 times a year. Okay, so 5 years, 4 times a year. So if we do 5 times 4, that means 20 times. So 20 quarters in 5 years. Okay, so 20 quarters equals 20,000. Okay, so that means that 1 quarter would equal 1,000. So basically every 3 months he wants to put away £1,000. Okay. May wants to save £15,000 in 3 years. How much should she save each month if she wants to contribute the same amount each month? So 15,000 in 3 years is, well, let's do 3 times 12 is 36. That's 36 months. Needs to equal the £15,000. 1 month needs to equal this divided by 15. Not divided by 15, divided by 36. And let's see what that gives. So here we go, 15,000 divided by 36. That's 460. Question 5. Jay wants to save £8,000 in 36 weeks. How much should he save each week if he wants to contribute the same amount each week? So we know that 36 weeks equals the 8,000. So we need to divide this by 36 to get 1 week. Okay, so 8,000 divided by 36. There we go, £222.20. Right, okay, let's get these marked. Right, so scenario questions here. So 416.67, yeah. £96.15, yeah. £1,000, yeah. £416.67, yeah. £222.22. Excellent. Okay, those are all good. Right, scenario questions. Right. Evie wants to save £30,000 in 6 years. How much should she save each quarter if she wants to contribute the same amount each quarter? Again, so there's 4 quarters in 1 year. So if we do 4 times 6, that's 24. So there's 24 quarters in the 6 years. Okay, so 24 quarters is equal to the 30,000. So 1 quarter is equal to the 30,000 divided by 24. So let's do that. Okay, so that'd be £1,250. Okay, great. Right. Robert wants to save £25,000 in 4 years. How much should he save each month if he wants to contribute the same amount each month? Okay, right, so we've got 4 times 12 is 48. So we know that there's 48 months in 4 years. So 48 equals to 25,000. We want 1 month. So we've got to divide this by 48. Okay, so 25,000 divided by 48 equals £520.83 per month. Okie dokie, right. Question 8. Suki wants to save £10,000 in 32 weeks. How much should she save each week if she wants to contribute the same amount each week? Okay, so 32 weeks has to equal the £10,000. So then we want 1 week. Okay, so we've got to just divide this by 32 to get 1 week. So 10,000 divided by 32. There we go. That's nice. Nice number. 312, and then remember to put the 0 after this because it is pounds and pence. Okay, £312.50. Right. Lisa wants to save £15,000 in 3 years. How much should she save? It's like a tongue twister. How much should she save each quarter if she wants to contribute the same? So remember, 4 quarters in 1 year. So 4 times 3 is, so that means that we're looking at 12 quarters. Okay, and so 12 quarters equals 15,000. And that's pounds. So 1 quarter will equal this divided by 12. Let's find out. 15,000 divided by 12. There we go. £1,250 each quarter. Right. Question 10. Mike wants to save £12,000 in 2 years. How much should he save each month if he wants to contribute the same amount each month? Okay, so we've got here £12,000 in 2 years. So that's 2 years is 2 times 12 equals 24 months. Okay, so 24 months equals to £12,000. We want 1 month, so that means we've got to divide this by 24. Okay, so 12,000 divided by 24. Let's have a look. 12,000 divided by 24, and that will be £500 a month. Okay, great. Let's get these marked. Okay, so here we go. 9999. No, that's not what I'm looking for. What am I looking for? I'm looking for 33 scenario. Here we go, up at the top, question 6. Right, so 1,250, 520.83, yeah. £312.50, yeah. £1,250, yeah. And £500. Perfect. Yes, all correct. Right, let's have a look at the next topic. Okay, so here we are, 34. Ooh, once we've done 34 and 35, we're halfway through the book. Excellent. Okay, I'm really hoping to get this done by next week. So let's keep on going. Okay, so this one is just calculate with amounts of money. I mean, it's kind of what we're always doing anyway, but it's just making sure that we're happy with this. So this is going to be a bit of a recap of some of the other topics as well. So we're clearly here, we've got fractions and percentage that we're looking at with this one. So 1/5 of 600 is 600 divided by 5. So we've got 600 divided by 5. And then I'll just kind of treat it like this. Add 20% of 600. So that's 0.2 times 600. And I'm going to do this with the calculator. So a fifth is 600 divided by 5. 600 divided by 5, because we're cutting it into 5. So that's 120. Oh. And then 0.2 times 600. Oh. It's also 120. Add those together equals 240. So it'd be £240. Okay. Right, a quarter of 800 is 800 divided by 4. Add 25%, again we just do the 0.25 times the 800. And then we can find out what this is. So 800 divided by 4 equals 200 plus 0.25 times 4 times 800 even. It's 200 as well. So that will equal £400. Okay. Question 3. 3/8 of this. So this is 400 divided by 8 and then times by 3. So 400 divided by 8 gives us the 1/8. And then times that by 3 will give us the 3/8. And then we want 30% of 400. So that's 0.3 times 400. Okay. So here we go. 400 divided by 8 equals that. Times by 3 is 150. And then we've got 0.3 times 400 equals 120. So that will equal 200. Right, okay. Question 4. 2/5 of 1,000 plus 50% of 1,000. So to find 1/5, we do 1,000 divided by 5. And then if we want 2/5, we've got to times that by 2. To get 50% of something, we just do 0.5 times that thing. Okay, let's work out what these bits are. So 1,000 divided by 5, and then times by 2. That's 400. Plus 0.5 times 1,000. 500. So that altogether equals £900. Okay. Question 5. What is 1/3 of 900 plus 75% of 900? So again, 900 divided by 3 will give us the third. And then 0.75 times 900 will give us the 75%. So 900 divided by 3 I know is 300. 0.75 times 900, I don't know off the top of my head, is 675. Then if I add those together, that equals £975. Okay, right, let's get these marked to see if these work. Right, 240, yep. 400, yep. 270, yep. 900, yep. And 975, perfect. Okay, right, next round. We've got 34. Okay, so let me make this large. Okay, so we've got 2/7 of 700, so we've got 700 divided by 7, then we want 2/7, and then plus 0.1 times 700. Okay, so 700 divided by 7 will be 100, times 2 will be 200. 0.1 times 700 is 70, so this one will be 270. And that's pounds. Okay, let's rewrite that. That's not very nice writing. Equals. Okay, what is 4/9 of 900 plus 15% of 900? So we've got 900 divided by 9 to get 1/9, and times by 4, plus 0.15 times 900. Okay, and so we've got here 100, 900 divided by 9 is 100, times by 4 is 400, plus, well, I'm actually, because I'm just thinking non-calculator here, I'm going to do this in a non-calculator way. 10% is going to be 90, because that's a tenth of 900, and then if 10% is 90, 5% is half of that, so that's 45, so 15% is 135, so we've got 400 plus 135 equals 535. Okay, in fact, let's try to do the rest of these non-calculator. So 3/5 of 500, well, 500 divided by 5 is 100, so 3/5 of that is going to be £300. And then 50% is just half, so half of 500 is 250. So we're looking at £300 plus 250, so that will be £550. Question 9, we've got what is 1/6 of 1,200 plus 30% of 1,200? Well, 1/6 is 1,200 divided by 6, which will be 200. And then 10% of this is equal to 120. So 30% will be 3 lots of that, so that will be 360. So we've got £200 plus £360, and this will equal £560. Right, last one. We've got here 5/8 of 800. Well, 1/8 of 800 is 100, so 5/8 will be 500, so that gives £500. And then 40% of 800, well, 10% is 80, 20% is 160, 40% is double that again, so that'll be 320. So we've got £500 plus £320, which will give us a grand total of £820. Okay, right. Let's get these marked. And then, here we go. So we've got 270, yeah, we agree. 535, yeah, we agree. 550, yeah, we agree. 560, yeah, we agree. And 820, yeah, we agree. Okay, perfect. Right, so next one, scenario questions. So here we go. So question 1, We've got Magdalena spent a quarter of £80 on groceries and 30% of £80 on clothes. How much money did she spend in total? So a quarter of this is 80 divided by 4, which will be £20. So she spent £20 on groceries. 30% of 8, this will be, well, we know that 10% would equal 8. So 30% would equal 24. So then, oh, I shouldn't have underlined that. So we're now looking at £20 plus £24, and that will equal £44 spent in total. Right, next one. David received 1/5 of David received 1/5 of £500 as a gift and 25% of £500 from his part-time job. How much money did David receive in total? Okay, so 1/5 is 500 divided by 5, and that would equal £100 for that bit. 25%, so remember we know that 10%, we just divide the total by 10. So 10% is 50. 20% would equal 100. And then 5% would be half of 10%. So 5% would be 25. So 25% equals 125. Okay, so then we can do that, add the 125, and that will equal 225. Okay, and then that's the bit that we've got. I'll just write that here as well, £225. Okay, right. Ava saved 3/8 of £400 from her monthly allowance and 40% of £400 from babysitting. How much money did Ava save in total? Right, so to find 1/8, we do 400 divided by 8, which gives us £50. She got 3 of those, so we've got to do 3 times 50. So that's £150 from her monthly allowance. 10% of 40 of 400 is 40. And then so 20% would be 80, and 40% is double that, is 160. So she's got 150 plus 160, and that will equal £310 altogether. Right. Michael spent 2/5 of £1,200 on a new phone and 30% of £1,200 on video games. How much money did Michael spend in total? Right, so let's have a look. We have got 1,200 divided by 5. I'm going to use a calculator for this. 1,200 divided by 5 is 240. And then if I do 240 times 2, that gives me the 2/5. So that's £480 he spent on a new phone. Here, 30%, let's just do this method again as I've used the calculator for this. So 0.3 times 1,200. So that's £360 on video games. Oh, get rid of these underlines because they're not my final answer. I don't want to confuse myself. So then we've got to do 480, add 360, and see what that equals. Okay, so let's just do that here because I've got the calculator out. Okay, so that will be £840. Right, question 5. Lisa donated 1/3 of £600 to charity and 50% of £600 to a local food bank. How much money did Lisa donate in total? So 1/3 we find out by doing 600 divided by 3, which will equal 200. So that's how much she got from the charity, how much she gave to the charity. 50% is just half. So if the whole amount is 600, 50% will equal 300. Okay, and then we're going to do the 200, add the 300, and that will equal £500. Okay, right, let's get these marked. Okay. we? 34 scenario. Okay, £44, yes. £225, yeah. £310, yeah. £840, yeah. And £500, perfect. Right, okay, nice to be in agreement. Let's have a look at the next. Oh, are we on the next topic? No, I must have flicked too many. Here we go. Yes, here we go. 6 to 10 we've got to do first. Right, so here we go. Okay, this is definitely a calculator on this one. Ben invested 2/7 of £1,000 in stocks and 35% of £1,000 in bonds. How much money did Ben invest in total? Okay, so remember to do this, we've got 1,000 divided by 7 to find out what 1/7 is, times it by 2 to find out what 2/7 is, so that's that bit. And then here we're going to add 35% of 1,000, so to find 35% we times by 0.35. Here we go. And then I can sort all this out in the calculator. I'm actually going to be really lazy and do it all in one go. So here we go. This is good because it's practicing everything that we've done. So we've got 1,000 divided by 7, close brackets, times that by 2, so that's our 2/7, and then add, get my brackets out again, 0.35 times 1,000. Okay, so here we go. And that will be £635.71. Okay. Maybe I need a note here. I don't, because it's pounds and pence, I don't think I need to give the round to 2 decimal places. Had I been rounding in the past? No, I haven't. No, there's been no need. Okay, right. Let's try this next one. Rebecca won 4/9 of £500 in a competition and 20% of £500 in a raffle. How much did Rebecca win in total? So again, let's just do the 500 divided by 9 to get 1/9, times that by 4 to get 4/9, and then add on the 20% of 500, which we can find out by doing 0.2 times 500. Okay, so I'll move that to the top there, sorry about that. And then here we go. We've got bracket 500 divided by 9, close bracket, times by 4, plus open bracket 0.2 times 500, and that will equal, here we go, £322.22. Okay, right, here we go. Mason spent 3/5 of £800 on a vacation and 45% of £800 on new furniture. How much money did Mason spend in total? So we have got 800 divided by 5 times 3 to get the 3/5, and then plus 0.45 times 800 to get the furniture, and then we can see what that gives us. So again, just going to type it all into the calculator. 800 divided by 5 times it by 3, add 0.45 times by 800. Oh, and that'll be £840. Okay. Hopefully £800 didn't represent the amount of money that he had. Right. Here we go. Jennifer received 1/6 of £900 from her part-time job and 15% of £900 from her other bit. So we're just going to do 900 divided by 6 to find the 6th, and then plus 0.15 times the 900 for the tutoring. Okay, so she earned 1/6 of £900 from her part-time job and 15% of £900 from tutoring. How much money did Jennifer earn in total? So let's work this out. So we've got 900, let me keep the brackets in, 900 divided by 6 to get the sixth of £900 plus 0.15 times 900 to get this bit. So there we go. So that would be £285. Okay, and last question we've got here, we've got Mark. Okay, Mark received 5/8 of £1,200 as a bonus and 60% of £1,200 as a commission. How much money did Mark receive in total? So let's do 5/8, so that's 1,200 divided by 8 to find 1/8 times by 5 to get 5/8 plus 0.6 times 1,200 to get the 60%. Okay, so let's do this here. So we've got 1,200 divide the 8 to turn that into get an eighth times this answer by 5 to get 5/8 plus 0.6 times the 1,200 to get 60% of 1,200. Oh, okay, that's good. He's got £1,470. Okay, right, let's see how we got on. Move that down there. Move that over here. Okay, moment of truth. Okay, so first one. Excellent. £635, 71 pence. £322, 22 pence. £840, perfect. £285, yeah. And £1,470. Excellent. Right. On to the last topic for this session, which takes us up to the halfway mark, which is problems involving tax, which really is just percentage questions. Okay, tax is all about percentages, so let's see how this goes. Right, so if the tax rate is 10% and the price of an item is 5%, how much tax will be added? So we just need to find 10% of that, and the item is £50. How much, if the tax rate is 10% and the price of an item is £50, how much tax will be added? So we just need to know if 100%, I'll start with non-calculator. 100% equals £50, so 10% equals £5. Okay. If a tax rate of 8%, if the tax rate is 8% and the price of an item is £75, how much tax will be added? Okay, I'm just going to do this one with the calculator. So, well, let's just do it like this. 100% equals £75. 1% will equal something, and then we can go 8%. Okay, so let's just get the calculator out and do that. We only need the basic calculator for this one, which is nice because it fits a lot nicer on the screen. So here we go, 75 divided by 100 equals 0.75 times by 8. Here we go. There we go, so that'll be £6 added. Here we go, right. So this one, if the tax rate is 15% and the price of an item is £120, how much tax will be added? So here we go, this time we can use non-calculator method. So 100% is £120, 10% equals £12, 5% equals £6. Okay, 12 add 6 gives us 15%, so that will be £18, and that will be the answer. So 15% equals £18. I'll write that again here, 15%. Okay, next one. If the tax rate is 12% and the price of an item is £200, how much tax will be added? Okay, so let's do this. So we know that 100% equals 200. We know that 1% will be something, and then we can get 12%. Okay, so remember, to find 1%, we divide by 100. So 200 divided by 100 gives us our 1%. So the 1% is £2. And then if we times that by 12, we'll get, oh no, that's a divide. Times by 12, we will get £24. Okay, there we go. Right, question 5. If the tax rate is 6% and the price of an item is £30, how much tax will be added? Okay, so here we go. What we can do, we can have a look at this. So we know 100% is the £30. We can find out what 1% is, and then we can find out what 6% is. Okay, so here we go. Get the calculator. So we've got here 30 divided by 100 gets us the 1%. So that would be £0.3. And then times this by 6. And that'll be £1.8. Okay, right. Question. Oh no, we need to mark those. That's why we're here, to check that the book is all good. Okay, so let me. In fact, let me just. There we go. Right, so let's see, where are we? 35. Practice. Okay, £5. Yeah. £6. Yeah. £18. Yeah. £24. And £1.80. Wonderful. Right. Next round. Okay. Okay. If once a tax rate of 20% was added to the cost of an item, if once a tax rate of 20% was added, an item cost £150. How much was the item without tax? Right, okay, they've added 20% tax, so that means we've got 120% of the cost. Okay, so 120% equals 150. So we need to find 1%, and then we need to find what the 100% was. Okay, so 150 divide 120. There we go. So 1% is £1.25. So that means 100% would be £125. Okay. Question 7. If once a tax rate of 15... One second. Oh, that's what it wasn't making sense. If once a tax rate of tax 20%... Oh, I've added an extra word tax in all of these. Okay, right. 1 second. I need to fix this. That's not the one that I want. Right, here we go. So, 1 second. What page is this? Let me just have a look here. 147. Sorry about this. Thank you for bearing with me if you're watching this. 147. This is the behind the scenes action that I don't know how exciting it is. Okay, so if once a tax rate of 20%, yeah, so that needs to go, was added an item added to an item there we go, that's how it's meant to sound, isn't it? If once a tax rate of 20% was added to an item, it cost £150. How much was the item without tax? If once a tax rate of 15% was added to an item, it cost £340. how much was the item without tax? If once a tax rate of 60.5% was added to an item, it cost how much was the item without tax? If once a tax rate of 10.7 was added to an item, it cost $89.99. How much was the item without tax? If once a tax rate of 12.5% was added, added to an item, it cost £177.75. How much was the item without tax? Okay, I believe they're all good. Let's go back and answer these questions, just glossing over the mistakes. So let me just scribble these out. Was added to an item. Was added to. Okay, right, so let's persevere with this. So here we go. If once a tax rate of 15% was added to an item, it cost £345. That means 115% of the cost of the item is the 345. We can go to 1% and then we can go to 100%. Okay, so let's get the calculator. So 345 divided by 115 equals £3. So 100% was £300. Next one, we've got 106.5% equals £266.25. Okay, if we can go to 1% and then we go to 100%. So 266.25 divided by 106.5 equals 2.5, £2.50 in other words, and that will be £250. Okay, and here we got rid of this, was added to an item, it was added to an item, it. Okay. Right, so if once a tax rate of 10.7% was added to an item, it cost $89.99. How much was it without tax? So that's 110.7% equals $89.99. So 1% will equal something, and then 100% will equal something. So let's work these out. So 89.99 divided by 110.7 will get us to 1%. So 1% is 0.8129. I'll go there. So 100% would be £81.29. And then lastly, we've got this one here. So 112.5% will equal the 177.75. So then we can find the 1% and find the 100%. So if we do 177.75 divided by 75, divided by 112.5, that equals £158, £1.58 even, which will be 100% will be £158. Okay, right, let's get these marked, and then penultimate last round of questions, but we're on the scenario for topic 35, so let's get that going. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to move this to the side. I want to get the answers up. Okay, so what have we got? 125. Yes, we agree. 300. Yes, we agree. Right. 250. Yes, we agree. 81.29. Yeah, we agree. And 158. Yeah, we agree. Excellent. Okay. Right, here we go. We have got some scenario questions on tax. Let's see what they say. Oh, they look long. So first one says, Luna has an annual salary. Oh, this really is real life. Luna has an annual salary of 30% of the... What's that? Sorry. Luna has an annual salary of £30,000. How much income tax will Luna have to pay considering the tax-free allowance of £12,570, the basic rate of tax, the basic rate of 20%, and the higher rate of 40% applied on income above $50,270? Okay, right, so, right, what we've got to think about is what is she paying on what? So, we don't have to worry about the higher rate because she only earns 30,000. So that's fine. We just have to think about the tax-free allowance. So what we're going to do is we will do 30,000. 30,000. Take away the tax-free allowance. Okay, so this will be the amount of money that she has to pay tax on. And then the basic rate is 20%, and it's asking how much income tax she'll have to pay. So if we times this by 0.2, we'll get 20% of the value of the money that she does have to pay tax on. And then I'll find out what that is. I'm going to use my scientific calculator here and make use of the brackets. Okay, just because that's going to make it a bit more straightforward. So here we go. So 30,000 take away the basic rate, the tax-free allowance. Okay, so here we go. So this will give us the money that she pays tax on, and then times 0.2 will give us 20% of that, which will tell us how much tax she pays. So there we go. She's going to pay £3,486. Okay, right. Question 2, we've got James. James earns £42,000 per year. Okay. What will be James's tax liability, taking into account the tax-free allowance of £12,570, the basic rate of 20%, and the higher rate of 40% applied on income above $50,270? Well, James doesn't earn over 50,000 either. So we can do the same thing as last time. So 42,000, take away the tax-free allowance. There we go. Right. Okay, right, question 3. We've got Emma this time. So Emma's yearly income is £35,000. How much income tax will Emma have to pay considering the tax-free allowance of £12,570, the basic rate of 20%, and the higher rate of 40% applied on income above $50,270? Okay, let's work this out. So again, it's going to be her salary minus the tax-free allowance. and then multiplied by 0.2 to find 20%. Oh, so let's. Actually, I will do this on the basic calculator, just because sometimes I do think that if you do the test online, you end up with a basic calculator. So all I'll do for this one, I'll do the bit in the bracket first. And press equals. Okay, that gives me the value in the bracket, and now I can times this by the 0.2. There we go. Okay, right. Next, Jack earns $52,000 annually. What is Jack's income tax liability, considering the tax-free allowance of £12,570, the basic tax rate of 20%, and the higher tax rate of 40% applied on income above $50,270? All right, so Jack actually does earn more than the basic rate. So what we're going to do is we're going to work out how much he pays for the basic rate. So up to 50,270 is basic rate. So we'll do 50,270, take away the tax-free allowance. Okay, and times that by 0.2. Okay, so that's going to be what he pays for most of it. And then we'll need to work out what he pays at the higher rate, which is going to be how much he earns, take away the 50,270, and then times that by 0.4. Okay, and here we go. I'll use the scientific calculator again for this. Okay, so here we go. We've got the first bit. So here we go, 50,270. Take away 12,570. Okay, and then close that. Times 0.2. So that means he's paying the entirety of what he's allowed to pay for the basic rate. And then we're going to add on the little bit extra that he earns. So he gets 52,000. Take away 50,270. So this is the amount that he earns that can be taxed at the 40%. Okay, so close that. And then times that bit by 0.4. Here we go. So this will be £8,232 tax. Right. Last question here for this round. We've got Sophia has an annual salary of £65,000. How much income tax will Sophia have to pay, taking into account the tax-free allowance of £12,570, the basic rate of 20%, and the higher rate of 40% applied on income above 50,270? So again, we know that she's getting 50,270. Take away the tax-free allowance at 20%. And then we know that she's going to get everything else she earns. So the 65,000. Take away the threshold, the 50,270. And she's going to pay that at 40%. 0.4. Okay, so we can work this out. So we've got here. Well, actually, let's do this again on the basic calculator, because it's a bit unfair if you don't end up having the scientific calculator in your exam. So 50,270 minus 12570 equals this. Okay, so that's the amount of money, that's the maximum amount that you pay 20% on, times 0.2. So this bit here, is 7,540. So that's what she's paying for the 20% tax. And then let's work out this bit here. So we've got 65,000 in this case. take away the 50,270. And then that equals this. And then if we times that by 0.4, this is the tax from what she pays at the higher rate for the money over 50,000. Then if we add these together, oh no, was that a 5? I think that's a 5. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll find out in the answer scheme. 7540. Here we go. And so that's going to be 13,432. Okay, right. Let's get these marked. Okay, right. So number 1, 3,468. Yep, great. 5,886. Yep. 4,486. Perfect. 8,232. Yep. And then 13,432. Wonderful. Right, last round for this session. Okay, I will be back again later today actually, because I'm really trying to work through these. But for this session, this is going to be the last round. So here we go. Right. So, right. Tom earns £18,000 per year. How much income tax will Tom have to pay considering the tax-free allowance of £12,570, the basic rate of 20% and the higher rate of 40% applied on income above that? Okay, so we're only worried about the base one this time. So we just need to do the 18,000, take away the tax-free allowance, and then times this by 0.2 to get us 20%. Okay, so 18 take away 12570 equals that, and then if we times this by 0.2, here we go. So Tom only pays £1,086 in tax. Okay, right. Okay, Olivia has an annual salary of £55,000. What will be Olivia's tax liability, taking into account the tax-free allowance of £12,570 and the basic tax rate of 20% and the higher rate of 40% applied on income above this? Okay, so let's do this. So we are going to have the lower rate, the upper band of the lower rate, which is the 5270, take away this bit here, times 0.2, and then plus the extra bit that she earns, take away the amount that she doesn't have to pay that on, and then times that by 0.4, because that's 40%. So let's do these in stages. So 50,270 take away 12570 equals this, multiplied by 0.2. Okay, so this bit's worth 7540, and then let's add on the extra bit. So the bit that she has to pay the higher tax on is 55 take away 50,270 minus 0.4. No, not minus 0.4, times 0.4. There we go. Okay, right, so then we can add these bits together. Here we go, £9,432 in tax. Right, we've got Ben, he's got the same scenario. So I can actually see, well, 1 second. Let's just read this here. So Ben earns £58,000 annually. How much income tax will Ben have to pay considering the tax-free allowance of £12,570, the basic rate of 20% and the higher tax rate of 40% applied on income above £50,270. Okay, so I actually know that this first bit is going to be the same. So this is going to be the 50,270 minus 12,570 times 0.2, and then so that's going to give us this 7,540. The bit that's going to be different is his upper band. So he gets this time 58,000 minus the 50,270 times the 0.4 for the 40%. So let's work out what that second bit is. So we've got here 58,000 minus 50,270 times it by 0.4, and so that gives us £3,092. Now if I add these both bits together, 7,540, that will give me how much tax he has to pay. Okay, right. Okay, again we've got Lily here. She's earning above the higher threshold as well. So Lily's yearly income is 110,000. What is Lily's income tax liability considering the tax-free allowance of 12,570, the basic rate of 20%, and the higher rate of 40% applied on the income above here? So again, we're going to get this first bit, which is just going to be standard for anyone that gets to the threshold. Okay, which is 7,540. And then we've got to add on this next bit here. And for Lily, it's going to be 110,000 minus 50,270 times 0.4. Okay, so we've got here 110,123, take away 50,270, find out what that is, times this by 0.4. There we go. So that's going to be plus £23,892. Okay, and so if we add those bits together, so if we add that to 740, that will equal a total of £31,432 in tax. But she is getting paid £110,000. So, right, she will be left with about 80. Right, let's have a look at question 10. So it says here that Ethan has an annual salary of £75,000. How much income tax will Ethan have to pay, taking into account the tax-free allowance of £12,500, and the basic rate of 20%, and the higher rate applied on here? So again, this bit's going to stand the same. We've got this bit here, so we've got the 50,270, take away the 12,570, times by the 0.2 to get 20% of that, and that will give you the 7,540. And then we've got to add on Ethan's extra bit, so that's going to be 75,000 this time, take away the threshold 20 here, and then because it's only the money over this that you pay that tax on, so that's 0.4. And then what we're going to do is we will work this out. So 75,000 minus 50,270 equals this, times 0.4 is going to be 9892. Okay, then we add those together. Oh, I've been underlining things I shouldn't underline. Okay, so if we add those together, I should just move that over here. Oh. Just to give myself space. When we add those together, I'm going to add on the 7540, and that will be this here. And I'll give that a double underline, and then we are going to be done. Okay, let's get this marked, and then that'll be that for this round. Okay, so And then we're halfway. Yay. Right. Okay. So, first of all, Tom, question 6. Here we go. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, 9,432 is also correct. 10,632 is also correct. 31,432 is also correct. And 17,432 is also correct. Excellent. So that is complete agreement. So we are all good with the first half of the book. So excellent. Let me just put my thumbnail up and say thank you very much for joining me on this section. I am going to be doing the next section, so topics 36 to 40 very soon. So look out for those. And yeah, and if you want to buy the book, it should be coming out in the next week and a half. So if you wanted to get the physical copy of this book to work through, it's something that's really nice to do actually, just because it's quite methodical, there's a lot of practice, and I found these questions have really helped with a lot of my students that I've had. So anyway, see you soon. Thank you very much for watching, and catch you in a bit. Bye.